The Cuban-American community in Miami was abuzz Wednesday after President Obama announced changes in U.S. policy toward Cuba.
Through these changes, we intend to create more opportunities for the American and Cuban people and begin a new chapter among the nations of the Americas.
Some of those who fled Fidel Castro's Cuba for the United States have long supported a policy of isolating the communist regime through sanctions and travel bans, even if it meant that their family members could not cross the 170-kilometer divide between Florida's southernmost island and Cuba's capital, Havana.
This is a betrayal to the more than 50,000 dead. It's a betrayal to Cuba. But we don't worry anymore about Cuba. We worry about the U.S.
Many others have long pushed for the normalization of ties between their new homeland and their native island.
I agree with Cuba and the U.S. having relations so they can know each other.
President Obama's decision received one of the most heartfelt endorsements from U.S. aid worker Alan Gross, who was freed Wednesday after a 5-year imprisonment in Cuba. Gross said the Cuban people do not deserve to be ostracized.
To me, Cubanos, or at least most of them, are incredibly kind, generous, and talented. It pains me to see them treated so unjustly as a consequence of two governments' mutually belligerent policies.
In Havana, some residents welcomed the release Wednesday of 3 Cubans that had been convicted of spying in the United States.
I think that it's a very positive thing that the 3 heroes who were prisoners in the empire have come back to Cuba.
Cuban President Raul Castro said Mr. Obama could do more.
El bloqueo económico, comercial y financiero.
The economic, commercial, and financial blockade that provoked enormous human and economic suffering on our country should end. Despite the measures of the blockade being converted into law, the United States President can modify its application by using his executive powers.
Such a move faces resistance by many Americans of Cuban descent, including Florida U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, who condemns any easing in relations with Havana.
All this is going to do is give the Castro regime, which controls every aspect of Cuban life, the opportunity to manipulate these changes, to perpetuate itself in power.
But congratulations began pouring in immediately after the announcement, notably from Venezuela and the Vatican. Since President Obama reinstated limited travel to Cuba in 2011, hundreds of thousands of Americans have visited the island. Under the new measures, the United States plans to reopen its embassy in Havana and significantly ease restrictions on travel and commerce within the coming months. Zlatica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.